Hey everybody, Signet here with the Bullish Bears. Welcome to the introduction to the Tastyworks platform part 2. In the previous video, I talked about the watch list that you see on the left side of the screen. Now we're going to talk a little bit about this center area. The center area, you can use this to look at your positions. Obviously, it's what we're looking at right here. You've got the trade tab where you can work through all the different options. Notice how the one that doesn't have the weekly options is a different color than the ones that do have the weekly options, and then of course the quarterlies. So at a glance, just the shade of what we're looking at tells us whether or not it's a weekly or a monthly. The days to expiration is in the middle, and then you've got your implied volatility average on the end. There are two columns at the top where you can choose what it is that you want to see in your watch list or in your options chain. I'm used to seeing a lot more than just these two choices, but really I got used to it really quick. From there, if we open up one of these, we'll just go in and take a look. In the money and out of the money is divided by this orange line, and a lot of things that you see on the platform, they're very subtle, and it takes a little while before you get used to noticing that they are there. So from here, we've got these short dashed blue lines. That's a 1 standard deviation move from at the money. And then there's a thicker dotted line, and that's a 2 standard deviation move away. We've got the curve, and at a glance you can again see those dotted lines, the thin one and the thick one. You've got your bell curve, 1 standard deviation form, and at a glance you can look for the short tail or the long tail and try to identify if there is skew in the market that you're trading. And then from here you can also turn on the analysis side, and that gives you the opportunity to change things from a theoretical perspective to an at expiration perspective. So if I was just to go in here and decide to put on a short put vertical, I can just click the button. It immediately throws it on there for me. If I don't like what it chose, I just grab these and move them just like that. It's very comfortable, very intuitive. It's very easy to just work your way around in here. If we go back in here to the curve, this is what it would look like at expiration, and we can zoom in. I got to roll my mouse wheel, and that just allows me to zoom in and out at a glance. If I don't like the tiles, I can shift them around. That white little dashed line right there is a representation of the current market, and across the top we can see what my profit is and my loss. Down here at the bottom we've got POP, which is probability of profit. We can see how much extrinsic value is in this trade, and since I'm completely out of the money, the only value of this trade is extrinsic value. But if we was to go the other way and perhaps build it a little bit in the money and a little bit out of the money, then we can see that there's some intrinsic and some extrinsic value. We've got our P50, delta, theta, max profit, and max loss, including our buying power, and it all updates in real time. We can immediately see what the trade is worth, decide if we like it or not, and if we decide, I like this trade, but maybe I want more time in the trade, great, we just hit the button, and now I've got a 12-day trade. Maybe I want more time, 13 days, 17 days, just like that. It's very comfortable, very easy to use. I can also decide to change my quantity, so I can increase things now. I went from 1 contract to 2, 3, 4. Guys, it's very easy to use. It's very comfortable to use. We can change our strike widths by moving these with the buttons. We can put them closer together or spread them out. It's very nice. If you don't want to do it manually with those buttons, you can just reach up here and do it. How nice is that, right? Now, this has all been at expiration, but if we want to, we can get into the theoretical side, right? Not what it would look like at expiration, but what would it look like today. We can also go in here and day step or vol step, just like we could on Thinkorswim. So we can kick out this sidebar right here. and we can go in on the analysis side. Here's my options that I have. I can start to increase the implied volatility and see what it would do. Go ahead and reset that. We can change price. We can change the date, go forward in time. What would this trade look like if it was the 18th instead of today? So we can do that. And then we can actually spot price and say, well, what if SPY was to go up to 395 and it was the 24th? Now what would my trade look like? And just like that, we can see it. We could turn on the quotes so that now we can see the bids going on in real time. And if we want to, I can turn that on. And as I move my mouse, we can see two prices. The theoretical price, what it would do with the changes that I just made, or what it would be worth at expiration. Very comfortable to use. We can go right back in here and hit reset, put it back to today's date, make sure that everything is back to normal again. Guys, I can't tell you how comfortable it is to be able to come in here and move around. You'll find that you very quickly are able to see exactly what it is that you're looking for. Let's see what else we're going to do in here. So from here, we can just make sure everything is reset, turn off these quotes. And, we can add analysis, and from that analysis, we can change from no Greeks. Maybe we want to look at the delta or the theta. You know, we can go in and look at all of the Greeks in here. And of course, we could go back to the analysis and start changing days and times and price. So it's just a very simple to use, very it's very intuitive, just very nice. One thing I love about this platform is the shading. When I'm trying to help people understand their value in the trade, what their risk or their reward is, where the break even is, I find that a lot of people struggle with that, trying to see it, trying to understand it. A risk graph is not something that people seem to be very comfortable with starting out in options. And so the colors in here just make things very easy. You can still see those dotted lines too for a one standard deviation move. What's a one standard deviation or a bell curve look like? Where's my long tail? All of that at a glance. You can, of course, come in and configure a filter. So if I had trades on and I wanted to hide those from the analysis, we can do that. If I want to jump through expirations but not use all the expirations, I could do non-standard or weeklies or whatever I want. Okay, I can come in here and I can change the display of what's working orders versus positions that I already have. Let's see what else we can get into from here. The activity tab. Now, I tend to use this a lot during the day. I will look at what's running on the day and see what I got filled in, or I'll see what's still working. Of course, the market's closed now, so I don't have any working orders. Trades that perhaps were canceled. Maybe I cancel a trade and then I decide, you know what, I wanted that anyways. We can go back in here and look at what it was. And I like to have that opportunity. Canceled trades, same thing. Come in here and look at what was canceled. So you can find your history very quickly from doing this activity trade here in the middle. And you can scan for things too. Maybe you just want to know, how many SPY trades you put on or were filled. Or let's try something that I actually trade on this account, Apple. So there's Apple trades that I had put on but needed to be canceled. Right? So this is, of course, the last 7 days. So I could go in and do 120 days working, filled, other. It's very intuitive, just very simple, very easy. You can see the status of the market. If you're looking at a live account or if you'd lost connection somewhere. This activity tab is someplace that I hang out quite a bit because I want to bump orders, move them around. Did I get filled? What did I get filled for? So I can do my journal, things like that. You can also have a main watch list running right here in the middle. Now, in the previous video, I talked about having a watch list here on the side. Oftentimes, I'll go in here and have my Dow 30 list, with percentage change on the day. I'll want to see what's green or what's not, but I'll also want something like my S&P 100 list in here, which right now I've got my filter turned on. I wanted to see things earlier in the day that did not have earnings for the next 60 days, and things that they were considered to be a 4 or a 3-star on liquidity. So if I was to reset that, now I can see all 100 markets that are in the S&P 100. I can see their earnings, when's their dividend, their beta, IV. I'm a real big fan of keeping track of what's going on in the implied volatility, so I can see IV rank, IV percentile, and of course the 5-day IV sizzle. How aggressive the IV has changed in a market in the last 5 days can be a really big heads up. We can easily add symbols to this watch list or just make a whole new watch list. We can export the watch list just at a click of a button, no problem. And then we can go in and change the things that are showing in this watch list. While we're also on watch lists, you can bring up a right sidebar, and that way you'll have your left sidebar, your center main, and then your right sidebar, all looking at different things, helping you keep a track of what's going on in the market. This is also the place where you can go in and change the view. So I am zoomed in 110%. We could go in even more than that, but I don't think we need to at the moment. One of the things that I did like is the sounds. You can change the sounds easy in here. Of course, you can do that on Thinkorswim too, but you have to know how to do it, and it's not very intuitive. Here, we just go to the sound panel, and we can go and change the sounds that it makes. There I had the open bell, and of course, the closing bell. Trade that an alert was made. Trade was filled. And trade alert. You can go and change these and put in your own custom noises, custom sounds. And I like that. It's just really nice. You can have them email you when a trade is done if you need to keep that for your records. And you can go in and reset all of your charts at the push of a button. Just really nice. So from here, we're going to click on this next area. This icon is an interchangeable icon. We can look at the watch list where we were, but we can also look at a chart. We can see our history on the day. You can follow people here from the Tastyworks company. They're all, I don't want to say that they're famous, but they're well-known individuals, and through their social media following, they have quite a crowd, and they're known for doing particular kind of trades. And so if you was inclined to, you could follow Tom or Bat or any of the people who share their trades at the Tastytrades company. So we're going to go next. I'm not going to stay into this, but here's the Tastytrade live. And of course, the market's closed, so it's not live anymore. But it would have been. We could have come in here and watched these guys talk through the day of the different things that they're looking at, things that they're interested in. They do a little bit of educational stuff, and when it gets slow in the day, you can go in and run research. You can look back things that they are looking at, things that they're interested in perhaps trading. This is to give you an idea of something that you may want to trade, right? Why they're looking at it, what's going on. It's just one more thing to kind of help point you in the right direction, right? I hear all the time from people that, gosh, I just can't find anything to trade. Well, you'd get some trade ideas here, you know. So from that, we're going to go look at a chart for a moment. I did say in the last video that charting on the Tastyworks platform is not as good as we would like. I'll just, say it that way. I've seen better, but oh boy, I've seen worse. Okay, so they do continue to update this. It does do what we need it to do. From the basic perspective of I've got candles, I can change the colors of the candles, I can change the background, add indicators. But when it comes to quickly zooming in or quickly zooming out, it's not a quick draw. You can't immediately jump over to a preset chart as comfortably or as quickly as I would like it to be. But it can be done because you can save your charts. So from here, if I was to want to go in and pull up a 2-day, 5-minute chart, that's pretty fast compared to the way that I used to do it when I was newer to this platform. So you can save your charts. You can load things up the way you want it. It has all of your typical regular indicators. There's nothing custom in here or particularly unique. You can't go in and customize things as much as perhaps you may want to. Let's just kind of pick something. An exponential moving average, of course, right? Just your standard exponential moving average. Of course they've got that. We can go in and change, all the normal features that you would expect. The width of the line, the style of the line, the color, the different moving average numbers make this into something else, right? So, it's what you would expect when it comes to just having indicators and having choices with those indicators, but nothing more than that. No advanced custom stuff. Drawing tools are more than adequate, and they can be colored, which is kind of nice. So you can shade in things like run a Fibonacci, and then I know this one's going to be a little bright. It's rainbow colored, but you got that, and you can go in and perhaps dial that shading down a little bit, change their colors, and add extensions, change it over to presets in percents or in prices, and then of course you can just reset the whole thing. So the drawing tools, they're more than adequate. They of course got multiple styles of Fibonacci and all that good stuff in there too. See what else we're going to do. The 4-grid. So I am a person who uses the 4-grid a lot. One of the things that I do with the 4-grid is I keep track of the 4 indexes. And for me, that's a big deal. I want to be able to do that. Some reason, let me pause this here. All right, so here's the 4-grid. It's what I normally use. I've got all 4 of the markets, the index markets that I tend to watch. It shows you just at a glance what is green on the day or what is red on the day. The one thing that I don't care for on here is it shows things in a dollar value. I would really like to see these markets in a percentage basis. I want to know if they're up 1% on the day, down 1% on the day, and which ones are comparable. If the ES is up 1% and the Russell is up 1%, I'd like to know that. But we don't have it in that. It's not set up that way. It's just the way that it is. Of course, I sent them an email about it. I haven't heard anything back. That is a detached chart, so we can throw it off on a different screen. And that one, it will stay blank when I've got that one detached, but we still have our regular chart. And if we go back to the trade tab for a moment, there is grid. And if we go into grid, here we have yet another multiple chart setup. And since Tastyworks has these smalls, and I consider them their own exchanges, I have loaded this up the way that I like it. And at a glance, I can see what's going on in the bonds, the US dollar, and precious metals. We can add one more, which I have had set up before. It's where I put the oil market. So I like this setup. When I don't want oil, I'll swap that out for something like the VIX market, right? See what's going on in volatility. And it's just all preset at a glance. You can save these setups and have them for later. You can also go in and detach an individual chart. So I can always have this individual chart set up and on its own screen. That way I can do whatever work I want to do over on that chart and still have a chart free here to be able to go in and see what's going on. All right, now these charts all don't link together like they do on a lot of other platforms. So if I want to see SPY, for an example, on the chart that I detached and on this chart, I would have to go in and change it on both. But, this was designed more for options traders, and I can tell you that I spend a lot more time on the table than I do in a chart, right? I don't need the chart. I don't do a lot of my work there. Let's bring these strikes in a little bit. Earlier, you may have noticed that I started a trade just by hitting the go button up here. This is a drop-down list with all different kinds of trades, and you can go in and just choose Maybe you want to put on a vertical, but you want to do the call side and you want to go long with a debit spread. Boom, just like that. You can do that. Hit the button. Maybe after I do it, I decide, you know what? I don't like the pricing on this put call parity. Maybe I want to flip that back across. And just like that, I can just grab the tiles and flip them right back over there. It's very nice, very comfortable. Maybe I don't like this date, right? I can go in and just change my date at the click of a button. You can see we're out farther now than we were. And it's got this dot right here letting me know that, hey, I've got a trade that's not filled yet and that's in here. Notice also it's showing my P&L, the profit and the loss on this in the watch list or in the side here. This is the side that would be getting profit, of course, because I've got a credit spread here. So as the market rallied higher and higher, my trade would be going farther out of the money, and I would be able to see at a glance, right? And for new traders, that's a really good thing. You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you how often I made some silly mistake as a new trader putting the trade on backwards or just screwing something up. We can see our probabilities. We can see our extrinsic value, the P50, all of it at a glance. It's just a very nice, comfortable way of doing business. Now, while we're here, I also want to talk about pairs trading for a moment. So with these smalls, I've been getting more into pairs trading, and I like the idea that I can just go in here. Maybe I want to do pairs trades, and I want to be able to see this very easily, and I want to change the ratio. Maybe one of these for two of these, what that would look like on the chart. Done and done. And of course, we can go in and change that to log scale, percentage, whatever we need to do, and we can fit drawings and all of that. It's just, that's a really nice setup, and yet again, it's one more chart, and it's off the side. We don't have to worry about struggling with getting this done. It just does it. That's very nice. Be a very comfortable way to do things. And you can see, you know, the trigger, the notional values, what your greater or less than is, everything just right there at a glance. All right, if you want to swap the markets, like, oh, wait a minute, I got them in the wrong order. Hey, no problem. You go in there and swap your markets around. All right, and then you can save your preset markets. So if I want to go in and swap this over to a pairs trade with SPY and QQQ, no problem. Maybe we want to counterweight that a little bit, right? Just how easy is that, huh, guys? Just, you got to love this. Very simple, very easy, intuitive. I love it. So there's the swap. You can see how I flipped it around. Now I got the Qs versus the SPY instead of SPY versus the Qs. So pairs trading is very easy to do here as well with their presets or your own presets. And you can do just the futures, or you can go in and do smalls. You can do BAT. BAT does a lot of these. You can do his smalls. And then you got your stocks, right? So already done for you. You got to love this stuff, guys. What else we got in here? They do run a dome here, the depth of market, but I do have to say it's unlike any other platform that I've ever seen, and since they don't offer paper, it would be hard for me to even try to come over and do a trade here using their dome. I honestly don't know how to do it. I've never done it. I don't know how to do it here, and I used to day trade options using a dome, but this is unlike anything I've ever used before, and I just don't know how to get that done in here. Perhaps if I get some more time, I will get that figured out, and then I will do a video on it, and we'll kind of go from there, right? But at the moment, I can't give you any information on how to use this because I just have not used it in trading, right? But there's SPY down there. So we know it's there. It's a very unusual dome. It's unlike anything else out there, and I just am going to need to put in some more time on that, right? So that's the trade mode side. The curve, pairs, running analysis, and then the table. The next thing on the list that I wanted to talk about is your transactions. You can go in here and run things year to date. You can see what you've been doing on the day, for the week, for the month. This is real important to me. I do a lot of trades and I post them into the community. and I get asked by people all the time, hey, how did that trade work out? And, you know, uh, what was your profit? How many trades have you done this week? How many trades have you done this month? How profitable are you? I can come in and show that, and I can export the details. Very simple, very easy, intuitive. I can find the things that I do, right? And that's important to me. When I was on Thinkorswim, I always had a hard time trying to find where my history was and then be able to use that data effectively. And here I can just do it very simple, very easy. All right, guys, that is the walkthrough of the Thinkorswim or the Tastyworks platform. I really hope that this was helpful for you guys. Take the time to get familiar with this broker before you go live. There is no paper trading over here, and that's important to understand. But when it comes to a platform that is very simple to use and just very user-friendly, this is the one, guys. It doesn't get any more simple and powerful at the same time as something as this. I use this thing all the time, and every day that I use it, I just get more and more comfortable with it. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you at the next video.